Hi everybody, my name is Fleur and I went to Godolphin from 2007 to 2012. And I'm currently a doctor working in Hull Royal Infirmary. I did medicine at university, obviously, and I did that at Barts in London, which is an East London medical school, and it's great. You should definitely apply there if you're thinking about doing medicine. And the reason I loved it so much was because when you're doing a medical degree, every single day is different. You know, sometimes you're working with patients, sometimes you're in lectures, sometimes, you know, you're doing practicals in a lab, or you're working with cadavers. There's so much diversity and it's always exciting and different. So that was the main reason why I loved it so much, I think. Something that I struggled with though was the workload, because they examine you essentially 3 monthly, so having to revise all the time basically and learn so much, this huge quantity of things that you needed to remember, and having to do that again and again, whilst also, you know, going out and having a great time with your friends, I found difficult. And treading that balance and finding that balance, I found really hard the whole time. It didn't get any easier for me, but you know, some people it did. So that was the thing that I found the hardest. In terms of what I would have liked to know before I started uni, and I think this applies to not just medicine but most degrees, is that I think it's okay to fail. And that isn't a message that I had been overly familiar with before I started, but I do think it is really important, because as you get older and you are in competition essentially with people that are like-minded and who want the same things as you and who are trying just as hard as you, you're never going to always be the best. And sometimes you're very rarely going to be the best. And I think it's really important that you're okay with that and you don't take it too hard and beat yourself up about it, because ultimately, as trite as it sounds, when you fail, you learn the most. And you know, you pick yourself up and you keep going, and that's the main thing. And in a subject like medicine, you do fail quite a lot. You know, you don't get the top marks all the time, and you know, there's gonna be assessments that you get wrong sometimes. So I think, you know, go into it understanding that there are going to be ups and downs, and that you can just push through. So in terms of my advice about what GCSEs and what A-levels you need, obviously if you want to do medicine you need to have a science base. But what I would say is at A-level I chose to do chemistry, biology and French and Spanish, and I think that's something that set me apart somewhat, because most of the other candidates had chosen purely science and mathematics. So I think it did give me an advantage to have had some languages. So I would advise that at A-level you choose something like a language or something totally unrelated to medicine, because medical schools want to see you as a rounded person, as somebody that has diverse interests and has passions about lots of things that aren't just to do with medicine. Obviously have a passion for medicine and for wanting to help people, but I think those are things that they're expecting to find in every candidate. Whereas if you say, look, I'm really passionate about medicine, but I'm also really passionate about art or something, that will set you apart. So I think it is really important to be an all-rounder. And I remember at Godolphin that was something that was hammered into us as well. So I think maybe you guys will be good at that. So diverse interests would be something that I would advise when picking GCSEs and A-levels. With regard to my job now, I'm an F1, which is a doctor that has just come out of medical school, so this is my first job. And I have been working here for a little while now, and essentially what my role comprises of is seeing patients every day and deciding whether or not they're critically unwell, and if they are, doing something about it or escalating it, and identifying problems and solving them, writing up medications and just touching base with families. So it is actually quite a diverse role, even though I've just started. I think the qualities that are necessary for a junior doctor are things like prioritizing. So in a day you'll get a list of jobs that you need to do that is as long as your arm, and you need to know which jobs need to be done first, and which jobs can wait a little bit. So prioritizing the things in your life is a skill that I think you guys will be already cultivating, because you'll already have things, you'll have lacrosse or prep or all of these things that you need to balance. So I would say try and hone those skills, because you'll definitely need them if you want to be a doctor. And I also think it's super important that you have empathy and aren't afraid to show it as well. So to show patients that you care and that you care about them, I think is paramount in this job, especially now when everybody's gowned and gloved up. It must feel to patients like they're surrounded by aliens. So it is really important that you show them how much you care and that you're there for them. What I like most about my job is the fact that you get to do something to help somebody else, and that is an intensely gratifying feeling. And you train for a long time in order to try and solve these problems, which sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. And that's the thing I struggle with in my job, actually, is the not being able to solve the problem. And sometimes it is an incredibly sad job. Often people die, and often people are dealing with terminal illness, and that is really difficult to deal with. So the way I tackle that really is talking to friends about it and talking to family about it, and having time to just switch off and think about something else totally different. But I think for you guys, what's most important is that you really enjoy your time at school. I know everybody that talks to you will probably say that, but really do kind of find something that you enjoy and make yourself a rounded person. As I said before, try not to worry too much if you want to do medicine, for example, about being so sciencey, although that is important, but try and, cultivate your other interests. So that's my advice in a nutshell. If any of you guys have any questions or need any help with anything, just feel free to drop me an email. And if I can help you guys in any way at all, then please let me know.